In Halakha Psuka and the Zohar and Gemara, we learn different subjects today in Chok Israel. Be just an overview of a couple of ideas from the learning that we did this morning. The Zohar spoke about the great importance of having 3 meals on Shabbat, meaning the meal of Friday night, the meal of lunch, and Seudah Shlishit, which is the extra Seudah we do in the afternoon. Typically after Mincha, we have a 3rd Seudah. Each one of these Seudot parallels one of the forefathers. The Seudah of Friday night parallels Yitzchak Avinu. Seudah of lunch is for Avraham Avinu. And the Seudah of Shlishit, the 3rd Seudah, is the Seudah that parallels Yaakov Avinu. There are, of course, deep significances and some like esoteric meanings having to do associated with these 3 Seudot, but one should at least understand that there is great importance to have these 3 meals, and one should be strict about having these 3 meals of Shabbat. Even if a Seudah Shlishit is not able to eat much, but at least to sit down at the table and to preferably, of course, do motzi and have a Seudah, have a meal, which is the 3rd meal. The Gemara spoke also about the importance of the 4th meal. What is that 4th meal? A 4th meal is a meal that we eat Motzei Shabbat. After we do Havdalah, after Shabbat is over, it's a Seudah of Melach Malka, of accompanying the queen, which is after Shabbat is out. There is also a great virtue in having this 4th meal, which is now called in parallel Seudah David HaMelech, it's called, the Seudah of David the King. It's a Seudah that is so important that the Gemara brought a story to illustrate the importance of that Seudah Revi'it. And it brings the story about a person who was every, Shabbat, was, his name was Rabbi Abahu. Every Motzei Shabbat, he would actually take a whole ox, slaughter the ox to use just one small part of the ox, which was at the time, was a delicacy. It was the kidney of that ox. And his son, when his son grew up, told him, why do you slaughter a whole ox just for one little part of it? Why don't you leave that part of it, that kidney, from the one that you slaughtered before Shabbat? And that way you save a whole animal. And the Gemara says that's what they did. However, a lion came and devoured that ox that they left, to show you that he didn't give from it so much importance is given to Seudah Revi'it. And it's a good thing to eat at Seudah Revi'it on Motzei Shabbat, a hot, something that has been warmed, like let's say you take bread and you warm it up, something that is hot is good for the health. In Gemara it says on Motzei Shabbat, also to drink some hot liquids, whether it's hot tea, or hot water, that's something that is also good for health. There is a reason for this that is brought in the books, is that there is a part of the body which is the Etzem Haluz, which is here in the back of the head, that benefits only from the food of Motzei Shabbat, and that's very important to give it those things that are warm and to have that Seudah. Even if a person is not hungry and eats just a little bit, still has to have a meal organized for Motzei Shabbat. Tradition says that the luz, that bone in the back of the head, is a bone that stays until Tchiyat HaMetim, until the time of coming of Mashiach and the resurrection of the dead. The Halakha Psuka spoke about the mitzvah of saying Kriyat Shema both in the morning and in the evening. Like it says, the time that people go to sleep and the time that they get up, which means in the morning and in the evening, we have the mitzvah to read Kriyat Shema, which we do anyways as part of the prayer. In the morning as part of Shachrit, in the evening as part of Arvit. And we have also Kriyat Shema Lamita that we do before we go to sleep. So if a person prayed early Arvit before it was time, that the stars are out, then he should repeat it, and the repetition could be at the time that he goes to sleep. And this is an important mitzvah that is incumbent upon every one of us, both morning and evening, to say Kriyat Shema. Baruch Adonai le'olam, Amen ve'amen.